Well, I've got the shed PC reinstalled with Windows 10, but it's, what is it, indoor temperature right here, 32.6, 66% humidity. I'm going to shut it down and run away before I melt down too much. I topped up the ink in my Kisslick tanks and carefully washed out the syringes, but every time I do it, I remember afterwards that I should have worn gloves, because it's inevitably a messy job. There's no way, no matter how careful you are, you seem to end up getting printer ink all over you. So the thing is that I only have to do that every couple of years and I forget in between. Must make a note somewhere. Well, the ice machine's back. The AC guys took it away and fixed it in their leisure, and he says, well, my understanding from what he said is that he replaced the pump module. He speaks slightly more English than I speak Indonesian, so I think that's the gist of it. But yeah, well, this is good. So there's the little gen set and the MIG welder back from the ice factory. This thing's normally an easy pull start, but it hasn't been run for a while and I think it needs priming. I was pressing the priming bulb on the fuel and it's not priming. A few pulls on that and I ran out of puff, so I'll leave that for another day. But having got this thing installed with Windows 10, I now need to do all the standard software installations and setup. Normally I would join it to my domain, but my domain controller hasn't been operational for a couple of years. For some reason or other it lost its DNS, which is an integral part of being a domain controller. And since I found I could get by without it, I didn't put the effort into sorting that out. Now I'm beginning to think that might come back to bite me. Well, I got Office 2016 and Firefox installed. It didn't want to install Shadow Protect for some reason, so I thought, okay, I'll retry that. And when I installed something else that turned out not to be the right thing, and then I installed it, it did a restart, and now it won't talk to my map drives anymore, so I'm going to rectify that and then shut it down and walk away, because it's not 10 to 11. I need to go and eat some fruit, I think. Well, I came over to the shed to get some silicon sealant and the silicon sealant gun, and I happened to come up here to my other end here, and I have a little friend stuck in my glue trap. So I think they can stay there. I'll just let them die a death, I think, because I don't want to get too friendly with this guy. Thinking about it, this guy was probably attracted by the aroma of rodent pee, so they used to live in that corner. So yeah, that was bad luck, wasn't it, sport? What I wanted the silicon sealant for was this. Apparently that conduit fell down a week or so ago, and it was actually hanging in front of the door there until I pushed it up out of the way. Jubaedah had been meaning to tell me about it for a week. Well, this morning she did. So now I'm going to put a line of silicon sealant across up there and along there and stick that conduit back down to it. And hopefully it will start there long enough for me to rush off and grab some painter's tape and suspend it up there while the silicon sealant dries. That's better. I will go and get the painter's tape though, because I can see it's already sagging a left hand end. The reason I went over to the shed to get that silicon sealant and stick that conduit up at the back of the house is because the internet had gone offline here. Before it went offline, it was saying the temperature was 29 degrees, feels like 37.2. No wonder I felt a bit uncomfortable out there. And that's at 9:15 in the morning. Could be a hot day. I'm going to stick to the lounge room, I think. Well, it's Wednesday. Thought I'd come over to the shed and see how the danger noodle's going. Suspect it's not well, but I'm not about to poke it to find out. What I really came over here for though was I finally remembered what was the other thing I wanted the silicone sealant for was sticky. What I have here is my depth gauge on the tank, which the bottom sections got blown off when I was doing my pressure washing. So here I have the three of them, and the idea is that this tape obviously isn't strong enough, so I'm going to use silicone sealant to work my way down from there, sticking these on, and then rip these off and stick those on as well. But yeah, so that's what I'm up to now. Yep, this guy's definitely still alive, but I don't think any amount of struggling is going to get him out of that. That's better. My scale's back on the tank. Next thing to do will be to replace this tube sometime with one I can see through, because that's getting a bit manky on the inside. Plenty more of that tube somewhere. I did think about spending a bit of time over here working on the computer, but 31.2, 69% humidity indoors, right in this corner. So that's, nah. This feels like though that would be probably low 40s. I think it's time to run away. This rice crop out the back of the shed copped a bit of a hammering the other day. In less than a 24-hour period it had 2 inches of rain come down fairly hard. So a bit of it got flattened, but it's recovered somewhat from that. But yeah, definitely the grain heads are filling out. But Jubaedah tells me there's a bug infestation in crops elsewhere in the area, so that's not good. They had a bit of that last crop too. It affects the yields badly. It's Thursday morning. We had a short sharp shower this morning, which is why it's looking a little bit damp over there. Taking over another one of these sticky traps to set up. Yesterday evening Jubaedah was out and about, so I headed across to the shed and she came over and she looked at my little snaky friend and said, "That's a cobra, kill." So yeah, it didn't last much longer after that and got taken down to the burn pit and incinerated. So yeah, nasty little bugger. But I'm going to set up another one of these sticky traps over here, and I got better placement for it this time. Previously I had them set up under there because it's where the rodents had been living, but there's a better place. The only ingress and egress for the shed is that gap under the door there, so would it not make sense? Oops, I've got to get this to open up. Would it not make sense to set it right there? That way they're going to have to cross that on the way in or out. But yeah, so we'll buy some more of these little sticky traps because that seems to work okay. I have 3 jackfruit trees along here, so there's that biggest one there, then that one, then this one. These two being ones that encroach on the path a bit and get trimmed back. Wonder how many years before we get fruit off those. That papaya's one of the few remaining ones. There's a couple more over here. Without much foliage on top, I can't see that ripening anything up. Wonder what that one is. But citrus here throwing out lots and lots of new growth, but I'm not seeing much in the way of fruit. Passion fruit still bearing, even without its framework up there on the top. That's all long gone. But Yeah, I gave up on the passion fruit on the basis that I wasn't getting any because grandchildren were harvesting them. And this is a surprisingly dry path given that it rained about 5 millimetres this morning. I wonder how many years before I get cocoa to work with. Jubaedah bought a couple more of these things. Basically a chaise lounge, reclining bamboo bed. Of course my question was, why? Why do we need more of those? Oh, sitting at the front. You mean you didn't have enough? No! Okay, so she bought 2 of these, and I was thinking, waste of money. Then she told me, $10 though. Okay, not too fussed about that. Looks like they're finished on the outside of Nando's house now. The scaffolding's come down, paint's on. I should wander around the front and have a look. Oh, work continues around this side. I won't walk through there. I'll go underneath this bit of bamboo. No, I won't. Turns out I'm too tall to get through that gap. And now we're looking at the north side. Okay, so we've got a new window there on that bathroom. There's Nando upstairs supervising. I shall wander through here if I can. So convenient where new window frames are gone in on upper floor there, and across the front down the bottom. And the paint scheme is coming together, sort of grey with cream and white highlights, and that's Nando waving. Nando's got a disabled right arm because he had a scooter accident that destroyed nerves in his right shoulder. Very limiting, but he's still making a career as a mobile phone and technology entrepreneur. So he's doing alright, fortunately. But a little meeting area they've set up out the front out here. And of course these things were slightly wider than the tiles, so you had to get a rock the right size to put under the feet. Those other ones were the right width. So that's where we're at. We had a visit from the recycle man yesterday. Turns up in his little motorised tricycle. So he takes away the cardboard and plastic and metal and all sorts of junk. So my 3 deceased Ryobi 1 Plus lithium battery modules, he was happy to take those, and the 30-inch Dell monitor took that away, a bunch of other stuff. So this sort of contrasts to back in Australia where you pay your council rates and they take away all your stuff and you get nothing for it. This guy actually compensates you for the recyclables. So he's just going to go off around the front now where he'll meet up with Lisa, who's going to negotiate the payment. You don't get a lot, but at least you get something. I'm told that the 30-inch Dell monitor, well, there you go, is just zoomed out, and now you see him in a moment. There we go, right up the side of the house, around to the front. My 30-inch Dell monitor, I gather we got about 50 cents for that. But hey, in Australia, you pay your rates and they take it away. So yeah, we don't get a lot, but we get something. Now we chop back to the 3-way view, so you can see him parked down there bottom left, and in the top right one momentarily you'll see Lizu emerge on a scooter to ride around the front. There she goes. So yeah, so that was yesterday. Yeah, and today's Friday. being Friday, I need to finish off this week's video clips and edit them down and do an upload. But it may not be obvious, but there's been more rain overnight. Not a lot, but yeah, so fairly quiet week overall, but next week got to go to Pandeglang. My SKTT, which we put in for 3 weeks ago, and they said that'll be a really good week. They'd follow up yesterday and said, no, instead of an SKTT this time you've got to get an EKTP, and for that we need your signature, and we'll update Jubaedah's family card while we're at it to put you on there, so we need her signature. So okay, so rather than just sending Santa to pick up the SKTT, we've all got to go back there and apply signatures, and then that new paperwork will be ready in a day or two. So maybe we'll just send Santa back for that one. I don't think we'll have to go back a second time ourselves. But yeah, hopefully that'll be the end of paperwork for a few years, because I've got 5-year visa now. That's their version of a permanent visa. You get a permanent visa, but it has to be renewed every 5 years. So it's a bit sort of strange, but oh well. And I'm still waiting on email responses from the Genset people. I don't know what it is about companies in Indonesia, but they really don't like to deal with emails, apparently. Like when I was putting in inquiries about the buying a compact track loader originally, I sent inquiries out to about 4 companies and got responses from exactly 2, one being Indotara and the other one being Caterpillar. The second time when I replied to the Caterpillar email, I never heard from them again. So great. That's why I ended up with the Bomac from Indotara. Lately I haven't had email responses from them either, but I haven't been trying too hard. But it's the Genset one that's annoying. And they have a phone number you can call, but of course nobody around here actually has credit on their phone for making voice calls. What they do is they have internet credit and use WhatsApp, because everybody seems to use WhatsApp, which is good. However, landlines are no good for WhatsApp, and companies tend to put their landline numbers as their contact information. So you can't get into contact with them via WhatsApp either. So it's a bit hard sometimes. But yeah, enough of my whinging. Time to wrap this up and do an upload.